Hi friends, if you're new here, welcome to my channel, or if you've been here before, welcome back. My name is Liz, aka Knife Girl, and I'm happy to have you here. So for this video, I thought I would just do kind of like a little type of life hack video of a method that I use to make certain clothing items work for me better. It's a very easy and a very achievable little DIY. If you do a lot of thrifting, or if you try to look for a lot of sales, sometimes you can find something that's like really good but not quite perfect. I think this tip will be great for you. So keep watching. Let's get into it. So basically, this video is just about one little hack, one little DIY hack. And this is something I've done a lot because either I'll find something at a thrift store that I think is cool, or I'll find something that's like on sale and the garment itself is really nice, but like something is slightly off where it's not quite perfect. But if I could do this one little DIY, I can make it perfect for me. And that thing is dyeing it. So let me show you a couple pieces that I have. These are all dyed by me. So I've got some items here to show you as examples, but these are all basically things that I bought and I liked them, but they weren't really working for me. So I just did a little dye job on them and they are now even better and they just work so much better for me. Let me start with this pair of overalls. So you may be familiar with the brand Big Bud Press. They're a very kind of trendy brand, but they're good because they make their clothing items sustainably. They make them here in America and they pay their workers a living wage essentially. So they are a really nice brand that I enjoy. The only thing is they can be pretty pricey sometimes, which unfortunately, a lot of ethically made clothing items can be pricey, but basically you're, paying to support a company that actually cares about its workers. But the thing about Big Bud Press is they a couple times a year will do big sales, in particular a sample sale where they'll sell items that are not completely perfect, like maybe the sizing is wrong or is a bad batch of something's wrong, or it's just like items that aren't selling as well. Basically it's like a blind sale where you can say I want this garment piece, but you won't get to pick the color, you won't necessarily get to pick the style, and those can be really awesome to pick up some cool pieces from that brand at a hugely discounted rate. So I've gotten things from that sale a couple times, and most times have been like stoked with what I got. There were 2 times though where I got some things that I'm like, I really don't know if I can make this work, but my solution was to just dye it a different color, and then I was like, okay, absolutely, I can definitely make this work now. So the first thing I got was this pair of overalls. They are presently like a denim blue, and as you can see, it came with this stripe pattern. Originally, it was like white and like an olive brown type of stripe, and it was just like I love the brand, but that colorway to me was just ugly. there's no other way to say it. It was just really ugly, and I couldn't think of anything I would wear it with. Like, it was just not cute. But I like the overalls themselves, like the style, the cut of them is really nice. It was just the color was so ugly. So my solution was I dyed them like a denim blue, and now you can still pretty much see the olive green brown type of stripes, but I think it just works a lot better with the blue. It's not quite so contrasty. It's a little bit more of a subtle pattern, and it's just so much easier to wear, frankly. And I think they still look great. Like, I love them, but these just work so much better for me now. I did think it was funny. I posted on Instagram, like, if you follow the brand on Instagram, they do a lot of reposting of people who share their, pictures of them wearing the clothes. But I posted about them and I was like, I got these, but I didn't love the color, so I dyed them, and they definitely did not repost me. I think they were not super stoked that I did that, but I think they're way better. Like, At the end of the day, I just made them work for me. I got something on a great discount that I honestly wouldn't have bought, you know, otherwise, but I made it work and now I'm super happy with them. And another item that I have, which is also overalls, I just really like overalls, so don't come for me, but it was just these Target overalls. I think it's just their generic Target brand. It's like Universal Thread or something. When I got them originally, they were like a very, very light pink, almost white, but they had also a little bit of heathering coloring to them. Basically, they were mostly white, and I liked the color initially, but it just at the end of the day wasn't that great, because I just realized that I wasn't pulling the overalls out of my closet as much as I would like to, just because of the color. Like, I didn't want to deal with having to be careful and not spill anything on myself, or, as people who have menstrual cycles are aware, a lot of times out of the month you don't want to wear anything white or too lightly colored. So I think because of all those reasons, I just wasn't wearing these as much as I would have liked to. So my simple solution was to just dye them, and I ended up just doing this generic denim blue. I think the color I used was Rit dye, which like denim. Everything, by the way, everything that I have dyed here is just plain Rit dye, which is probably your most common brand, and it's very easy. I'm not going to necessarily do a tutorial because I don't have anything I need to dye, and I don't want to go buy something just to dye it, but it's very easy. You can find tutorials on how to dye things on YouTube anywhere. Just follow the directions on the bottle and it's extremely easy. So I've done all these projects with Rit myself in, you know, whatever, in my house, and it's very easy. Cannot recommend it enough. But yeah, I just dyed these a regular denim blue, and now I wear them way more often. The next thing that I dyed is just this like tank top bodysuit thing, and the only reason that I did dye it was because it was white, and I am not great with wearing white garments. Like, I'm very accident prone. I'll either run into something, or I'll fall, or I'll spill something on myself, you know, food or whatever, and so I just don't really ever wear white. So this was just pure white. Also, you know, if you sweat a lot, you're gonna get sweat stains or whatever, so just didn't want to deal with it. So I actually was dyeing another, it was like a work sweatshirt that was white. I was dyeing it purple, and I just grabbed this and tossed it in there. It wasn't really even intending to do that, but just tossed it in. And actually, I think this is a combination. I think actually this one, I think I actually tossed in when I did this, so it was a little bit blue, but then I also tossed it in when I did this, so it kind of, both of those colors together made this more royal purple. So yeah, this is actually a combination of a couple colors, but I was just tossing it in there and it worked. It worked fine. And yeah, it's cute. I've used it a couple times. As I was putting those clothes away, I also found another item which I have dyed. This started out as a white and blue tie-dye. You can still kind of see the tie-dye pattern on it. And I was wearing it a decent amount, but it just wasn't really, I just wanted to throw it in with some other stuff that I was dyeing, just because I thought it might be cool to change it up a little bit. So then I ended up with this kind of indigo color dress, and you can still see the tie-dye pattern, but it's just kind of more muted and less bright and everything. And yeah, this one turned out pretty good too. Again, very simple, very easy. I wasn't intending to dye this at all, but I was dyeing something else, and I was like, let me just throw this in there and see what happens. I'll probably like it better. Now it's this kind of more muted indigo color. And then the last item that I wanted to show as an example was another Big Bud Press item. This is also from a sample sale. This was from their most recent sample sale, and I was just looking at their jumpsuits, and I really, really wanted a jumpsuit, but they're so expensive. So the sample sale came along and I got one, and they sent me a pure white jumpsuit, which as I've mentioned, I can't wear white clothing. I can't wear a head to toe white jumpsuit. Something's gonna happen and I'm gonna make a mess of it. And also, to me, a white jumpsuit looks like you're about to come paint a house. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, obviously people can style it and make it look cute, but I don't want to look like a house painter wearing an all white jumpsuit. So I dyed it this pretty beautiful eggplant purple, and frankly I think it looks just so much better. It's just so much more beautiful now. As you can see, the tag is slashed because I think they do that to indicate the items for the sample sale. I don't know. I have other items and the tag is slashed like this. I think it just has something to do with their sample sale. I just dyed it. I dyed the whole thing beautiful purple color, and I posted it on Instagram and got so many comments about it being like, oh my god, it's beautiful. And I think it's beautiful too, and it's so much more wearable now. It's so much more easy to wear and functional, honestly, than wearing a pure white jumpsuit. I don't have to worry if I'm, you know, at that time of the month. I don't have to worry about spilling anything. I mean, I still do have to worry about spilling stuff on it, but I'm less worried, you know what I mean, than white, because white will show anything. But this, it's just so much better now, and I think honestly cuter and more stylish. So yeah, that's basically all this video was just, yeah, one simple little life hack type trick. Not necessarily a how-to, as like I said, you can go anywhere on the internet to find a how-to. But yeah, if you're out, you know, shopping or something, and you find a piece that you think is really amazing, but it just won't work because it's the wrong color, or maybe you need it to be a certain color for a certain function you're going to, if you can, just dye it, because it's really easy and it makes things more personalized. It makes things more one of a kind. It's more eco-friendly than to, you know, say to go to like a fast fashion shop and try to find an outfit for just this one event that you won't be using, or you won't wear after this. If you can, you know, you can dye it and make it more enjoyable and more workable in your wardrobe, that's probably the way to go. Or I know some people who, you know, they are commissioned with finding like a bridesmaid dress or something, and it has to fit a certain color scheme, but it's hard to find dresses within that color that's your size, that looks good and whatnot. You can always, mostly you can just dye it. The thing to remember, however, is your color theory. This is very important. So yeah, I'll say this. Obviously, it's mostly common sense, but you can't make things darker into things that are lighter without bleach. You could bleach them. I personally have not experimented with bleaching clothes, but you may need to do some experimenting with that. Like, you can't take something from black to like a light blue without probably bleaching and doing some other kind of processing to it. But you can take something from a light blue to a black. You can definitely go lighter to darker, no problem. But if it is a color other than white, you will also need to factor in, basically, if what you're dyeing is something other than white or a very, very light color, you will need to factor in the color wheel with it. For example, if you have something that is orange and you want to dye it blue, because orange and blue are opposites on the color wheel, you're going to get brown. But if you have something that is orange and you want to dye it like a corally pink, those colors are a lot easier to accomplish. So just use common sense. When I used to roller skate a lot more, I would be in forums, and it's also possible to dye your roller skates, but people would, like, for example, someone had like an orange skate and they wanted to make it purple, but orange and purple are on the opposite sides of the color spectrum. So when this person tried to dye her orange skates purple, they just came out a very ugly muddy brown, and she was like, well, why did that happen? I don't understand. And it's like, well, because of color theory. You can't take two, you know, opposite colors on the color wheel. They're going to cancel each other out basically and make either like an ugly gray or an ugly brown or black or something. So just take that into account. It's pretty easy. Just Google a color wheel and figure out what color you could achieve based on the color that the garment is. For me, I lucked out. Like, this one was white. This one, as you can see, the stripes that are currently blue, those were pure white, and then the darker stripes were like an olivey kind of burnt color. And so what they ended up being is this kind of deep army green almost. That's just how it worked out. I think that's all I have for this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to my channel. Please consider giving this video a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye, friends.